Hey everybody, today we're going to be using wild pig to create some German jalapeno cheddar brats, and we're going to take the wild pig and we're going to cut it with 25% pork fat and just use standard hog casings and make up some just really bold German cheddar sausage. So we just got the hog cleaned up off the bones here and into strips, and we're going to run it through the grinder followed by the pork fat, and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, so we got this all ground up. I got the pork on this side, got the pork fat on this side. I am pleasantly pleased with the similarity in color, meaning the pork fat content in this stuff is going to be pretty extreme, but it should make for some really delicious sausage. We're going to get this back chilled down again, and that's something else I kind of want to touch on. When you're doing any sausage of any type, through the whole process, you want to make sure that you keep both the meat and your equipment cool. So, you know, some steps that I take, obviously, keeping the meat in the fridge until right before I'm going to grind it, and the fat as well, naturally. But also freezing the head of my grinder right before I attach it to the grinding apparatus, because you just want to keep the head of that, all the components cool as that meat's going through. In the end, it's ultimately going to lead to a much better product in the end. So focus a little bit, as much as you can, on keeping everything cool. And even if it's a cool day or a day you can tolerate it outside, you know, doing this outside, either in the garage, in your shed, something like that on a cooler day, just to keep the whole thing cooled out, is a great idea. But yeah, we'll get this back into the fridge and get the mixing apparatuses ready and get the seasonings put together and get it mixed up and seasoned up and ready for the stuffer. Up next, we're going to mix our wild pig German jalapeno cheddar brats. And kind of the order I like to do this in, I throw in the fat and the meat here to begin with. And I'm just going to kind of get things turning now. I'm going to add 3 cups of water here as we mix the meat and the fat. All right, we got that turned over just a few times. And now I'm going to grab my seasoning and another 3 cups of water. And we're going to kind of simultaneously mix those in. And I'm going to turn this now for about 1.5 minutes. All right, and now that we have a pretty even distribution going there, I'm going to add my jalapenos, and I'm going to turn those in so that they're evenly distributed through the meat. Okay, and then finally, I'm going to add these high temperature cheddar cheese nodules and my encapsulated citric acid. In the encapsulated citric acid, you can choose to add this or not. It adds a little bit extra tang to the sausage. And as I'm mixing this, it's starting to dry out just a little bit. So I'm going to add an additional 2-3 cups of water here, depending on what I kind of visually think it needs. All right, absolutely beautiful. And as always, now that I have it mixed how I want it mixed up, I'm just going to grab a little patty out, throw it in my skillet, and do a little test bite. All right, so just because this is wild pig, I just made sure this is cooked well done, and whoop, and I'm just going to try my little test bite here. There's a reason they usually make sausage out of pork. It's got great flavor throughout, a little tang with that citric acid. Getting the jalapenos and the cheddar, so it's time to make this into bratwurst. Only thing left to do now is to get the meat in the stuffer, get into the casings, and throw it in the freezer. Thanks so much for following along with us today, and best of luck with all the creations you're making in your kitchen at home.